So you wish you had a running vehicle. You don't have the money for a new vehicle, yet there are broken vehicles sitting around the house. So over here, we have this vehicle sitting around for quite a bit. It's not too beat up. So we're working on changing out the engine on this vehicle. Now this engine is seized up. And a telltale sign of a seized engine, if you can identify the crankshaft out of all these pulleys, you turn this crankshaft, you put a wrench to it, and if this bolt here will not turn, and then you can tell that this engine is seized up. It shouldn't take too much effort to turn the crankshaft. So since that engine is seized up, what we did is we went and got a used engine. Like I said, for a lot of people, they have vehicles just sitting around the house. Simply check the engine to see if the engine is seized. If the engine is not seized, and then it has potential to be rebuilt. So this engine's already been taken apart. Anyone can take the engine apart. You just get a vehicle manual and it'll tell you how to take it apart. Go to YouTube and it'll tell you how to take it apart. Putting it back together is going to be the tricky part. So we'll be taking in this engine to get it cleaned up since it's already apart. The cylinder heads, in the meantime, we have a little dirty because it was out here in the rain, but it's still pretty good. So what do we do now that the cylinder head is apart? Got everything taken off, rocker arms, got the valve guides changed out, got new ones pressed in. You have to take that to the machine shop to have that done. That's optional. Rebuilding the engine, it comes with a different set of kits. So over here we bought a kit from online that has just about everything. You got oil pan gaskets. I recently just took in the piston heads. So the piston heads were sitting right in this section. They're at the machine shop being changed out right now. You got the oil pump, you got lifters. I believe this is the water pump. You got some more head gaskets in here, valve cover gaskets. You got the bearings. You got just about everything that you'll need to rebuild the engine. Right here we got the head bolts. And you got the timing chain kit. So like I said, if you go online, you find different type of kits. It just depends on how much of the engine you want to rebuild. You want a full rebuild, you get the entire kit. But if you want to do just short block rebuild and just buy your cylinder heads from online, that is possible. Right now I had a job. I lost my job, so right now I'm just at home, but I do know how to rebuild engines. So I figure I'd make a video for the people out there who are just sitting around at home. I actually went to school to rebuild engines and to work on vehicles. I have a associate's degree from the UNM in Gallup. So instead of having to go to college, you could actually just read the manual and it'll show you how to work on the vehicle. You can watch YouTube. If you have questions, type them in on Google. Google AI will answer those questions for you. So right here you got the old AC compressor. You got the intake manifold. You got the radiator here. Then you got the AC condenser. And then over here you got a bunch of other engine components. There's the crankshaft that's going to be cleaned up. The components on this side are going to be trash. I'm not going to be reusing those. Then the components on this side are some things we are going to reuse. You got the valve covers here, got the timing cover, got the exhaust starter. These components are still good to use. The harmonic balancer is sitting right here. That we will be reusing. So what we basically did with the vehicle and the old engine is we took out all the components. We even took out the battery, we took out the tray, and took out the radiator, the fan, just so we can get the engine ready to take out. The only thing that is left to do for this engine is to unbolt it from the transmission, and then this engine should be ready to come out. Now anyone can really do that. You just have to put in the time and the effort. It'll come out. It just depends on how much you're willing to start and finish the job, because it will take a couple of days. It does take time. Each bolt is hard to get to. The transmission bolts are probably the hardest. You got very little space to work with to get to those bolts, but they can be gotten to. Like I said, you just have to have the time and the will to put in the effort. Oh, and we also got the old Cadillac converters. I got new converters, new sensors, and the money that went into it so far is $2,600. But like I said, there are different kits, and I bought just about everything to replace. I'm going to be replacing the fuel injectors. We're going to be replacing these ignition coils, spark plugs. I got new sensors, so all those sensors are going to be coming out. That's why I totaled 26. I also got a new AC kit, so we're going to be changing out the accumulator. You got some of these new lines that are going to be changed out. The condenser is going to be changed out, the AC compressor. So altogether it's $2,600. But like I said, if you want, it just depends on how much you want to put into your rebuild, how much stuff you want to change. This vehicle has a capability of towing up to 5,000 pounds. So what I plan on doing is using this vehicle to haul some wood. I also recently bought this trailer, which came in handy. Now I'm not going to be loading this trailer up to the sky. The towing capacity is about 3,500 pounds minus the trailer weight. So I'm only going to be towing about 2,000 pounds worth of wood, bringing it back home, getting ready for the winter. So if you have other vehicles sitting around the house and you have nothing else to do, you could also engine instead of having to buy another one. The next best thing to a brand new vehicle is rebuilding your engine. That way you get the full power back out of it. 2,600 I put into this vehicle so far versus 30,000 for a brand new vehicle. You can do the math. It's really up to you. First thing we're gonna do, everything is apart. Took some brake cleaner. You're gonna need a lot of brake cleaner. Even when the engine comes back, you're still going to want to clean the engine components, all the parts that are going back together. You're going to want to clean those. You're going to need a lot of brake cleaner. When we take this to the shop and bring it back, we're still going to want to clean it off a little. Clean these off. So right now, the first things we're going to do is we're going to put some valve grind to the valve seats. That way we'll make sure the valve and the seats have a good seal, so when the compression happens, the piston head comes up and squeezes the air. You don't want the compressed air leaking out past the rings or going back into the intake or the exhaust. When all these have, when the valves have a good seal, piston rings have a good seal, that's where your power comes from. You don't want the air leaking back out through the valves or through the piston rings. Alright, so we got the cylinder head inside. It still looks a little dirty. That's because it was outside in the rain, but we're going to take a razor blade, clean that off, so we don't have to worry about that. When you take it to the machine shop, you want to get it milled, and the mill is to cut it flat so that when we put it back on the engine block, it has a nice seated surface, because you don't want air leaking out the head gasket. So over here we got the valves. EV exhaust valve. Over here is IV for intake valve. So we got brand new valves. Every time we got this tool here, got your valve compound here. So every time we apply the valve grind compound between the valve and the seat, you want to mark each valve so you know where it goes, because you just made it one valve to a seat on the cylinder head. So you want to put the same valve back into place where it was just mated together. So we got these brand new, even though they're brand new, if it's a brand new cylinder head, brand new valves, then you don't need to do this. But we are reusing the cylinder head, so it is proper to mate the valve to the seat on the head. We got the valve here. I'm going to put some valve grind on the Q-tip. Just a couple of dabs. You don't need to put it all the way around. It'll spread out on its own. Now the instructions on the back of here says to add some water to it because it has different types of grit. With the valve in the head. So with the valve in the head, take this tool and you want to spray some water on it, spit on it, it's up to you, and then you stick it onto the valve, and what you're going to do is you're going to twist it. Okay, I've got to hurry up and catch up with them now. I think I have an idea. When you put this tool on the valve, you want to apply some pressure to it. Hold it down for a while, just until it sticks to the valve. And you take both your hands and you're just going to spin the stick once it sticks to the valve, and that's going to help it twist and turn against the seat. Lift it and turn it 90 degrees, quarter turn. Then work it back down again, lift and turn, and continue. If you notice, it had a really grindy sound when you first started. And as you keep on going, the sound starts to tone out. And there's no exact time you have to do this. How long is up to you. It just depends on how it sounds. Uh-oh. No power. So after working it a couple times, we're going to get a rag and wipe it clean. Okay, so what we're looking for here, if you notice, it has a nice gray ring going all the way around. If you look at these other ones, you can tell it's still pretty shiny on this side. So the difference is that with the gray ring around it, you know that the valve is making contact. The valve is making contact with the seat all the way around. In this case, if there was still a shiny spot right over here on this side, then you would know that the valve is not making complete contact all the way around. And if that's the case, you'd have to replace the seats. Try some more compound to it. What are you doing, baby?
I forgot the pens.
Pens?
Yeah.
Apply some more valve grind compound to it. Set it back in. Same process. I'm going to go through.
What?
So we grind it, lift and turn it, grind it again. Lift and turn, just a quarter turn. One goes away, pull out the valve. clean it off. Okay, so there you go. So far we got 2 of them done. Like I said, you're looking for that nice, even gray ring all the way around. You don't want any shiny spots. If it's a shiny spot, that indicates that the valve is not touching the seat. So far, these 2, we have applied valve grind compound to it and they came out pretty even. This one here, if you see, part of it has a nice gray ring on it. But this area right in here, this part still has some shiny patches on it. If you look at this side, well, you can see that has a nice gray finish. On this one, you can see that there is some shine still right in this area. So what we're going to do is we're just going to apply some more valve grind compound to the valve and then redo it again. And we're just going to do it again and again until there is a nice even finish like these ones from the beginning. Okay, so we just got done applying the valve compound for the 3rd time. Now if you take a look at it, now it has more of that gray finish all the way around the entire ring, just like the first 2, and that's what you're looking for. Like I said, if there's any shiny spots, you know that the valve is not seated properly against the valve or against the seat. And the reason why we're doing this is so that the compression doesn't leak out, because if you lose compression, you're losing power. So if you skip this step, you're actually doing a rebuild, but you are still losing power. So you're buying new parts, putting it all in, and it's really just a waste of time if you're not going to do it right.
Salty, but there's one in a bowl.
Okay, so we just got done with the last valve. So the tool should stick to the valve. It's usually strong enough, that way you can spin it just right. One thing I didn't mention is that when you first apply the valve compound, when you first apply it to the valve and you slide it down the valve guide and you start to spin it, there should be little resistance. In this case, when I stuck it into this one and I turned it, you could feel some resistance. So in this case, if you want to reuse your old valves and you start to apply the valve compound, if you notice a lot of resistance, that could indicate, 1, either the valve stems are bent, which means the valves need to be changed out. 2, the valve guide on the inside, that could also be bent, and that would cause some resistance when you're trying to turn the valve inside the valve guide. 3, in this case, if you look closely on this side of the seat, you notice the gray ring. It's uniform, it's even. On this side of it, you actually still have some shiny spots. So you got half a gray ring and half a shiny ring. This means that your valve seat is no good. This half is actually sitting higher and this side is sitting lower. So when you put the valve in, you start to turn it, it is only grinding on one side. So this side is seating, but this side is not. This half is still shiny. So the entire cylinder head has to be taken to a machine shop and they have to resurface this valve seat. If you don't do that and you place the valve inside of it, only half of the valve is actually going to be touching the seat. The other half, when the engine compresses the air-fuel mixture, all that pressure is going to escape into this valve, and this is actually your intake valve. So it's going to go back inside the valve cover, and that's going to cause a bunch of problems. But the main problem is that you're going to be losing power. So the reason why we put the valve grind on this cylinder head is so that the valve seats properly against the seat. That way you're getting full compression and you're getting full power from a rebuild. So we're going to stop right here, and we're going to be taking this cylinder head back into the machine shop. And the other one I also done, it has the same problem. Ironically, it's the exact same. It's the middle cylinder, and it's also on the intake side. They're both on the intake side, middle cylinder. Both of them need to be resurfaced. If they can't resurface it, they call you by phone, let you know that a new one has to be ordered. They'll pull out this old one and have a new one pressed in, and the new one should already fit a new valve. So that's as far as we're going to get today. After we take it into the machine shop and we get it back, we'll make sure that this valve is seated properly, and when that's finished, and then we'll start putting the other components on the other end back into the cylinder head. Thanks for watching.